Okay, folks, I want to thank everybody for showing up to the August training session. This month, our training session is on conflict resolution, and our speaker is past District Governor Barbie Hertz. Barbie, it's yours. Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. I'm glad you guys are here. As you all know, it's in clubs and any organization and even in our personal lives, we have conflict problems, whether it's personal or within a group. And we find it very important to need tools in our toolbox in order for us to find a way to resolve our conflict. Now, do any of your clubs currently have conflict? I know ours does.
Yes.
Yes. Raise your hand. We all do, right? So, Adam, would you try to play that video if you think it will play?
Yeah, if you guys think you have problems, watch this. Hold on, let me admit Chalisa again. There we go. If you think you've got problems, can you folks see this?
Yes.
Yes.
Bridge.
Okay. Hold on, let me get back to where I'm supposed to be. Here we go. Hold on. Let me get out of that. Okay. So there we have it.
So
Go ahead.
So did any of you see two types of conflict going on there? Specific. I mean, what did you see with the bear and the moose? They kind of seemed like they didn't want to do it any other way but their way, right?
Right.
Yes.
Have you ever seen that in your club where you have certain leaders that it's their way or the highway?
Yes.
We're going to talk about that a little bit. And how about the little guys? Did you see a little bit of collaboration and willing to work together? Do you know what I mean by that? Willing to, cooperate with each other. First, they're thinking about how can we make this work, even though there wasn't a lot of conversation, you kind of see that there's two different styles in leadership. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today, is the different styles within an organization that we can use as leaders to try to get our members to work better together. Okay. So Adam, if you could bring up the agenda items slide for me, please.
Yep, hold on just a second.
And I use the Lions Club's international approach to be more specific to Lions, but this is only one avenue. And this was, there's lots of ways to teach conflict resolution. Okay. Anybody that's taken conflict resolution has probably had 101 different ways of studying it. I know I have.
You want me to go to the next slide?
Next slide.
We're on the first slide now.
Correct. You want to go to the third slide, which the next one after this.
Okay. Yep. There we go.
Okay, so our agenda items or our objectives are to, we're going to do a real short overview of the Lions International, which most of you already know. We're going to do a little bit of understanding conflict within organizations and how that works or doesn't work technically. The Lions Club's International Conflict Resolution Framework, but I'm also going to explain the different types of conflict resolution and how different leaders' styles work. Practical tools and techniques so that they work better in an organization. And we'll do maybe a short case study, but we'll see how time goes before we get that far, okay? First thing that we want to do, go ahead and go to the next slide, please. Am I talking too fast for you guys?
No.
No.
Okay, if I do, let me know. So the first thing we want to do is to know to identify what causes conflict in a club or an organization and how people manage it and what's the appropriate style. A lot of us don't think we have styles or ways of managing, but we really do. And if you're wondering how to have a more effective club, because a lot of times we think we're just stuck in the way that we run our clubs. That's not true. As leaders, we are there to help our clubs run more effectively. I don't know about you guys, but the last 3 months, I've been dealing with a lot of conflict with a lot of different situations. And it's been my pleasure or displeasure, I'm not sure which, to try to find out what is going on with the club and how I can approach it to help them. So I've had to learn what my style is and which one's going to work the best with these clubs. So the first view or the overview, which is the next slide, is about Lions Club International. Next slide, please. Okay. The mission values of Lions Club International when it comes to overall is community service, which all of us know. We want to work in our communities and help worldwide with projects and initiatives. Volunteerism is a core value, and also integrity and inclusiveness. That means that we work with all members, no matter where they are from, fostering trust and unity. Now, we don't always think of that because when we are working within our own club, there may not be a lot of diversity or changes, but when we get together like at a cabinet meeting, or we go to these functions like forum or even international, that's where you really see the diversity, and that's where we might sometimes see conflict that might be more pertinent to what I'm talking about. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next slide, please. Now, if you have questions, don't hesitate to stop me, okay? Now, we have a global presence and a community impact, which we all know that's why we do what we do. We have a worldwide club network, which means we're not just our clubs, we're not just our local entity, we're not just the district, but we influence the world by everything we do. That's called connectivity. And a lot of us, again, most people in the Lions Club think about just their community, but we reach out, and the things that we do here can be far reaching to other parts of the world, like clubs that go on mission work, or our Lions in Sight that go to different countries and give out glasses, are collecting glasses, hearing aids, any of those things reach people in different parts of the world and even different parts of the people. So, and we help we have over 200 countries that we are active in, and that makes us a significant global presence. We have community service impact, which means we are hopefully positively affecting our communities with our humanitarian efforts. Just like what we did in Winnemucca, for those that could go to Winnemucca, where we got the food together and we provided for the food pantry. I don't know, they showed some pictures of how the food we gathered. That's impacting Winnemucca and helping the people there that need food. And we have effective collaboration. In other words, clubs get together, and especially our Southern clubs, and more so than the Northern clubs are starting to work. And I hate to use the North-South, but we're all starting to work together as one to get our projects done. So that is kind of what International wants to see as a whole. Those are our objectives and our presence in the world. Next slide, please. Okay, the next thing is we should understand what conflict is. It seems to be a really standard thing and everybody knows what conflict is. But conflict is the mental or physical struggle resulting from incompatible or opposing needs, drives, wishes, or demands. Now, conflict can be and should be resolved, because if we don't, it leads on into more trouble, right? But things that we need to know is that it's an everyday occurrence. Conflict is normal. We can't get away from it, but we can learn about other people's needs and feelings and the perspectives that other people have. It's very important as leaders that we consider all of this when we are leading a group, because we cannot come from our perspectives alone. We need to be aware, as I've been told, of our audience, of the people we're leading. What's going on with them? Why are they feeling the way they are? And how can we make a difference for them? Now, the thing that most of us have to look at is that our people may have personal issues that we're not aware of. And we may be asking them to do something at that point that they might not be able to do. And they may get upset or angry, and that we don't know why. Or we may be asking them to do something that is culturally unacceptable for them. These are all parts that as leaders we need to be aware of. Oftentimes we do not realize that these are what's causing that. So we go unintentionally cause more problems than we mean to. So that is what we're trying to learn about today. The other thing that 4 common causes, like I said, and I'm going to put it down in smaller terms, is that your interests or your values have changed. As we grow older, do our interests in what we do change a little bit usually? Yeah. Yep. And our values have changed, right? I know for me, my interests have changed in what I want to participate in our club. And so I'm less apt to do certain things that I used to do when I was in my 40s, or I'm less physically able. And so people may get angry because I'm not willing to do everything under the sun anymore. I'm picking and choosing what I'm doing, but they don't understand that I've changed my ideology of what I want to do. Without asking someone why they aren't participating and just assuming they don't care, you can hurt their feelings, or they can become angry because they feel like they're being pushed upon or made feel less than. And it comes when people misinterpret what they're thinking without asking. Their needs are no longer being met. Now, if I used to like to go, let's say, work out in parks because I physically could have fun doing that, and for some reason obviously I've had 20 back surgeries. That's probably not what I want to be doing for 12 hours. Then my interest might not be being met if I'm being stuck at it at the park and not able to do something else which I'm capable of doing. So we have to take into consideration and ask our members, what are your interests? What do you want to do? And what's going to best meet your needs? Now, how does this play into role in our clubs? Now we say, well, we can't do that because we've done it before. Well, someone might really want to work with seniors, and our club wants to work with kids. And I'll use Fallon as an example. Fallon tends to work more with the youth of our club, but there's other of us that have passions about working with the seniors of our community. And so there has been at times where we have conflict with those two items, and both of them can be done because we're serving a wider community. But we have to allow our people, our club needs to allow our members to get their needs met, to do the things that they enjoy. Now, that doesn't mean it can always happen, but we need to be willing to entertain the thought. Have you guys ran into that, where that some of your members are no longer happy doing what they used to do?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay. And that's a big deal, because I know in our club, as people are starting to get older, their ideas and what they're doing are changing. They don't want to do certain things anymore. Or when you have your younger people, they don't want to go to meetings. And we all know that, right? Some do, but a lot of them don't. We need to be flexible. We need to see what meets their needs so that they become happy members and they stay. That's part of our retention plan.
Mm.
Power and authority is challenged. That could be as simple as you have a circle of authority. Okay, so of course you have your officers and your positions of what you do, but you also have your chair people. You have your, and I'm going to just use terms that they're nothing but terms to kind of get what I mean, kind of your workflow. Your worker bees, the ones that are always out doing the jobs. You have people that do certain things very well. You have someone that you've given a project, they've done it, let's say 10 years. And then all of a sudden you pull that project back from them because you want someone else to jump in, but you don't talk to them about it. That person's going to probably get hurt by that decision. They're feeling like their authority in that project is being challenged, so they become angry. And it's a misunderstanding unless you talk to them and make it clear that you're not trying to take away that, but you're trying to groom other people to learn, that becomes an issue. Last one is misunderstandings. How many times have you spoke to somebody and they misunderstood what you said and they got angry? That happens to me all the time. You don't mean to make them angry, but they sure as heck get angry, don't they? So, next slide, please. Okay, so some common sources of conflict in volunteer groups. Differences in expectations. In other words, they stem from mismatched or unclear role of your group. In other words, one set of people or your leaders want to do one thing, but your members want to do something else. We have that a lot in groups, in clubs, that certain people, like I was talking about earlier, want to work with one set of people or projects, and yet other people want to work with other projects and people, and they don't talk about it. And then so there's a conflict that arises. And if it's not talked about or resolved, it only gets worse and causes schisms. People quit. Communication gaps. How many people see communication gaps in their club?
Every time.
Every time. So we need to learn
time.
how, every time. Okay, so we need to learn how to prevent those communication gaps. How we can, now this is not always an easy thing, but we need to learn how to communicate effectively and listen. I was always told we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Two
True.
ears to listen to the people around us, one mouth to say something. And usually we want to wait before we say something so that we make sure that we get all of the points from all sides first. Okay. Leadership style differences, which I will go into in a minute. Everybody is different. We all have different ways of doing things. And you saw that difference with those the bear and the moose and the little raccoon and the bunny, right? Different ways. One, the bear and the moose were definitely what you call authoritative, or that it's their way or the highway. And they were throwing things and you're getting angry. Where the other two said, okay, you're not going to listen to me. You're going to find out you're going to go the other way anyway. And then they collaborated. So that's important. Another thing that we don't think of, how many times, and I've known this in a lot of clubs when I was district governor, there's resource limitations. You don't have everything you want or need to provide the project you want to do or the services that you want to provide. Now, a lot of clubs have this issue. We don't think about it. That's where our fundraisers come into play and how we raise our money, or even how many people can run the project. Now, these can cause conflicts. Look, for instance, I used to run a yard sale, and you need quite a few people in a yard sale because you need people walking the ground to make sure everybody's being helped. And one year, only 2 people showed up to the yard sale. That makes it kind of hard when you have 28 tables to take care of and to help people and also take the money. That's a limited resource, right? That causes conflict.
Hey, Barbie.
Yeah.
Barbie. So
Yeah.
we have recently run into this in my club because we have this e-waste program, which is very labor intensive. And it's been me and another guy, and he's much older than me, and I've had a bum knee for a while. And so we were going, look, we can't keep doing this by ourselves.
True.
We've got to have help. And we just hammered on that, saying, look, we've got to do it, got to do it. We went over to Jaleesa's business just the other day, and I think there, and we didn't need them there as much as we did in the other places, but I think we had 6 or 7 people there. So we're making inroads into that, whereas people are going, well, they can't do it all themselves. And so communicating with them is huge, you know? So
thank you for that. Yeah, we do need to communicate that we need the help, and we need to have more resources, whatever those resources might be. We're saying we're the best kept secret. Well, sometimes our needs are the best kept secret also. And, we're trying very hard to work together on getting our resources together, right? And bringing clubs working together. We're not in conflict when we work together, folks. We're helping each other achieve the goals that we want to achieve. And that's important. So I'm going to real quickly just mention the types of leadership types that you can use, conflict management types. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because of time, but I want you to be aware of them. One is avoidance. In other words, you don't want to do anything because you don't like conflict at all. That's not very effective because then you don't get any resolution, and the consequences, everybody loses. You have the dominant approach where someone always has to be right. That's usually not too effective because someone always gets hurt feelings. You accommodate, where you're yielding your point to the other people's needs. So you're going to get mad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Compromise, which is a good one, but we all win a little bit, but we all lose a little bit. So it's kind of a win-win, but it's also everybody has something on the table. And it tends to be more effective than the other 3. And then collaborate is where you work together and come up with the best way possible for everybody involved. Now, for me, collaboration and compromise are my 2 areas that I work best with. Although you have to keep in mind that you have a time element. If you have plenty of time, collaboration is probably your best area to work within. But like in the military, where you have to do immediate decision, then you have to have a dominant type of approach, because those decisions need to be made immediately. You have a danger element. So when you're dealing with conflict, you must always have those kinds of things in mind. Does that make sense to everybody? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And now, one thing to remember now, that there's a really good, if you want to understand them better, you can go on to Lions Clubs International. There is a very good training class on conflict resolution, and it explains it even better. It's in your learning, what's it called, Adam? Learning resources. And their studies.
Yeah, learn. Yeah.
Right. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but I wanted to bring that up so you had it.
Well, let me give, that's a perfect opportunity for me to give you a little bit of a teaser. We have a gentleman from Maryland who is teaching a class in April of next year on leadership styles. And I'm sure he's going to talk about these things as well.
Awesome. And he's pretty good, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now there's 3 types of organizational types of conflict that we should be related. There's task related conflict. In other words, whatever your task is that you're arguing about, you don't like the task. I've kind of alluded to that. Relationship conflict, personalities before principles before personalities. You've heard Jim, my husband, talk about that. People don't get along. You don't have, thank you, Adam. You don't have to like each other to work together, but you sure as heck have to get along while you're working, correct? And it's really hard when you're in a club and you're fighting. You need to put your personalities outside the door, and you need to work together for the value of your community. And process-based. We all do not agree on the process that needs to be used. We have tools within the Lions organization to help with these are how to make people accountable for what they're doing. We have forums. That's what the training helps us to do. So be aware of those types of conflict. And when you run into them, if you don't know what to do, look onto Lions Clubs International. Again, go to your portal and look under resources. Now there's impact from unresolved conflict. Next slide. One is the decreased morale. Have you ever seen your club just not want to work together anymore? That's why you see a lot of people, sorry, dogs in the background. That's why you see a lot of people arguing and low team spirit, reduced participation, and an impaired service delivery. We're not doing the job for our communities that we should be doing. Okay. Sorry about that. For reason. Okay. So far, has everything made sense? Do you guys have anything to add to that so far?
I've seen it all in my club.
I hear laughing.
Every one of these.
You know, I can think of somebody in which eat all of this. Yes.
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 Well,
Okay.
and Adam, you know what you shared with us in your club, and there's only 2 of you that are basically running your one and only project. You know, that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, and but we figured a way through. I mean, we probably could have communicated better, but we've done it through we did do a good job of communicating in some level, but we guilted him into it. We just said, look, if you don't start helping, it's going to go away. And so you better start showing up. We have 30 members and two guys are doing it. So help us out here.
Yeah.
Well,
And they do.
I have to say it's very similar to what's happening up at Camp Dotsalali, that, Brent got up and said, hey, if we don't get more people to sign up, there won't be camp this year.
Exactly. Yeah. He had to
Yeah, and
communicate. and that's easy.
nobody wanted to hear that, but it was necessary,
Yep.
you know?
Exactly. And being a leader
Sometimes
is
the
not easy.
sometimes the truth hurts.
Yeah.
It does.
And sometimes when you rely on a chairperson of a project like the student speaker contest, the communication should be very important. Is because it's a trilogy, the school, the chairman, and the club. And when the chairman drops his responsibility or her responsibility towards it in 3 weeks before the deadline, and communication is not there, trusting the person, sometimes we don't want to hurt their feelings. I had to jump in and take over, or else we don't have any speaker.
Yeah.
The school called me and said, Jenny, I know we have a deadline, but he doesn't come over. I didn't know that, That's my fault. At the end of the day, still the president takes, the blame on it, no matter what. Because somehow I know my voice is loud sometimes, and they think that when I stress my point, they think I'm angry, I said, that's the voice. Because they said, oh, Jenny's angry now. No, that was, I wasn't. It's just that I was just right on the dot when saying, we got to do this. Because if you feel like soft with some members, well, they test you.
When I was president of our club, this impaired service delivery stands out to me. We work very closely with families, and at one point, one of our members stood up and just was not very kind to the parents, and well, to the kids and the parents. And so I had a choice to make. I could deal with it right then and there, but we were busy, and we still needed him to participate. So at the next meeting, I pulled him aside. I said, we can't talk to them that way. That is not something. He didn't even realize he was doing it.
That's true.
And I said, the perception, you don't understand, but by dealing with it, he's never done it again.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't say, look, you really messed up. What I said was, this is what you did, and this is the concern that I have over that. And he said, I didn't realize it. I'm so sorry. And he's never done it again.
Yeah,
Awesome.
sometimes they all say it's not a big deal. No, it is a big deal for the morale of the club members. When a project,
Yeah.
they're so excited and then it just dies, it's because nobody caught it or something. I said, no,
Yeah.
it's not we just phase it out or something. It needs to continue somehow. Somebody have to take over. And they always say, oh, Jenny's always there. No, it's not going to be that way. I'm not always there. So it's a communication problem. So, okay, we have that every time, every month.
Jenny, you're not alone. Clubs do it, all of our clubs do it.
Uh-huh. Still, we try our very best, and we have every year I have new president. They always say that 1 year is not enough. It's true, 1 year is not enough, but it's also difficult to say we cannot have a forever president or vice president or any member that holds on into their position, which doesn't really add to the morale, or it might be, Some say, oh, let her be the president. She knows what to do. No, somebody have to take over, so there will be a different style of leadership. And who knows, will be a better club or worse club. We'll never know until we try.
Exactly. Good
You ready,
point.
Barbie?
Yes, we're going to just do a real quick finish up. And then what I would offer for everybody, that if you guys want, I can send you the rest of the slides, because I'm not going to be able to finish all the material because of time constraints. But I want you to be able to see, okay? So there are some principles of guiding conflict resolution. One is transparency, which we were just talking about, right? Being able to talk about it in open communication, like Adam was just talking about, in clarity about what's going on, right? Letting people know that it's going on. mutual respect for each other. Don't lash out at your fellow lions. They're volunteers.
For
Inclu-
volunteer.
We're all volunteers. Inclusiveness, include the people and hear what they're saying. Make sure that it's fair conversation and that you're not excluding somebody in the conversation or talking behind their backs. Nobody likes that kind of behavior. If somebody's involved, talk to them. And constructive dialogue, not destructive dialogue. And we know that that happens. And it's up to us as leaders to try to be as constructive and positive as we can. Even if we're angry, that being destructive is not going to help. And there are step-by-step conflict managing processes. One is the conflict identification. What is it? Engaging the people that are involved. In other words, making sure that you talk to them, exploring the issues from all sides, not just one side. Do not take sides, and facilitating with the people. Now, this can happen in a lot of different ways, and that's something that the other slides will tell you about. I hope this helped a little bit today, and I hope
Barbie,
that
we can, Barbie, you can go ahead and finish up with this. Keep going if you would.
okay.
I'm okay with it.
Okay, is that okay with everybody then?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah, we've
Absolutely.
only been
Yeah.
going for
Yeah,
45
keep
minutes.
going.
Okay,
We've
so
only been going for 40
yes.
minutes.
okay, so the
Absolutely.
next, let's go ahead. The roles and responsibilities of resolution. You have your leader's role, right? Which is the leader, whoever that is, whether it's your president, your chairperson, your district governor, your whoever's the leader at whatever is going on. They have a certain part where they're maintaining their accountability. So for you, Jenny, you, like you said, when your person that you had, that was your student speaker chair, didn't follow through, yes, you had to step up because you're the one that's making sure that everybody's supposed to do what they're doing, right? That becomes your responsibility. That's your role, as to step in and make sure. Hopefully you can get your person to step up, but if you don't, it ultimately falls on you to kind of follow through. You have your mediator role. So let's say the conflict is really bad, and I will not name clubs or anything, but that's what a guiding lion often does. They become a mediator. They become a mediator when there's problems in the club, and they have to get in the middle of people arguing and try to listen to all sides and try to get them to talk openly and calmly, hopefully, to each other. And usually when all sides talk about it, all the truths and non-truths will come out to the table, and hopefully you can get them to understand what's really happening so that they can come to some kind of compromise or some workable arrangement among them. And I say hopefully. And then you have your members' role. In other words, your members play a role in the conflict that's going on in the club, definitely. And it's up to them to be willing to own what they've done and to participate in the resolution efforts as well. In other words, that's where when Jim would say principles before personalities, they need to own what they did. They need to leave the personality at the door, and they need to do their job to the best of the ability. I believe that we do these things because we really love it. And if we're doing it for that reason, then we need to put our personal feelings for other things and people away and do the best of our ability what we're doing. And if we have a problem, handle it outside of our meetings or outside of our events, because we are damaging not only the morale of in our club, but we're damaging the whole picture. I've had an incident where I was in a meeting and somebody actually yelled at me in front of guests. It didn't only affect me. I have pretty broad shoulders, as most of you know, but it affected the guests, and I didn't feel very good about that. I couldn't say anything and would not say anything at that point. But how do you think our guests felt hearing that from a leader? They probably weren't very happy about it. And if they were going to be potential members, they probably would have turned around and said, there's no way that they would become members just because of that behavior. So those are the types of things I'm talking about. And if you've experienced it, the best thing that we can do in a positive sit down conversation or is to discuss, well, and you don't ever say you did this, but say, I have seen that this is happening and, how can we fix it type of a scenario, and try to bring it to their attention and help them to, like Adam was saying, hey, I see this and this isn't working very well. What can we do to fix it? Because that way they can own it. Next slide, please. Yep. Practicing practical tools and techniques for conflict management. Okay, next slide. Now, we were talking about communication. To me, that's one of the biggest problems that we have. Uh-oh, did it go away? It went away.
Hold on, let me try again.
I think it's back.
Yeah, that one is. There we go.
Ah,
Okay, again.
I don't know why it's not.
There.
Well, that's back. It's okay.
There we
Okay.
go.
Yeah, we're
Sorry
back.
about that.
It happens.
I'm glad he's operating this because I would really not be able to do it. So that's okay.
Both.
That's why I'm here.
That's right. Thank you, Adam.
Welcome.
Okay, so communication is, to me, one of the biggest problems that almost every organization has. We don't, even though we're getting better at things, we still don't communicate effectively. It's like that little can and with a string, or where you whisper in someone's ear and you go through the line and it comes back and it's not the same thing that was originally started. Right? I don't care how many times we try it, it gets altered in the process and people don't hear it the same way. We are trying to find new ways of communicating, and I think we're getting much better at it, but it still seems to be an issue. And I think that's just human nature, and we just have to keep working at it till we get it to the closest way we can so people understand what we're trying to do. Some of the communication skills that we need to have when we're in conflict resolution is active listening. That means that you are fully concentrating on what the person is saying and you're not trying to rethink what you're going to say before they finish talking. And you have to build trust and resolve conflicts effectively. So you need to be listening. A lot of us, and I've been guilty of this, of not totally listening. You're already thinking of how you're going to say something and what you're going to do before that someone's finished talking. And I think we need to be cognitive that sometimes that's a behavior that we might have and work very hard at it. We have to have empathy in communication. We need to know what somebody else is feeling and foster a connection with them and mutual appreciation or understanding of difficult situations. I had this situation in my own club where someone's going through a very difficult time. I have no understanding what they're going through, but I need to be aware that it's very difficult for them, and I need to step back and just try to understand from their point of view to the best of my ability so that I don't make comments that might be hurtful. That can be really hard when you're not understanding. It's just like somebody with a back injury or a knee injury and someone coming up and saying, well, I don't know why you can't do this when they haven't had the same thing. They don't understand because they haven't been there. So empathy is very important in communication. Another one is clear expression. We need to be concise in what we're saying. And we need to, if we're concise and clear, it prevents the misunderstanding and promotes transparent and effective communication. So if we don't beat around the bush and try to hide things and we don't sugarcoat things, it's going to help be a better tool when we're trying to resolve our conflict. Also, pay attention to body language and facial expressions. that helps. It helps you to do a better job as well as for your people to pay better attention. As a pastor, Jim and I have to kind of watch our congregation. Now, if they're snoring in the pews, that tells you that there's something going on, right? Yeah, nothing's going on, as Jim says, because they're not listening to you anymore. It's kind of true when you're doing conflict resolution. If they're looking away or looking to the ceiling or kind of frowning at you or playing with their thumbs, you're probably not getting through to them. So
I
you
have
need
a
to be able.
question.
Yes.
I have a question, and maybe other people can give me some. And this is an issue that I've got coming, and I'm not exactly sure how to handle it. What if you have somebody in your club who says things that I don't believe they believe necessarily what they're saying, but they say it to get a rise. They're saying it just to be confrontational, I think. How do you deal with that person?
Or to get attention, Adam?
Yeah, maybe so. Or they think it's funny or something, but sometimes what they say is very hurtful and not helpful by any means.
I've run across that. And they're looking
Yeah,
for attention. I really do. I think they're insecure and they're looking for attention.
So do you ignore them?
Yes, as best as I can and try and show a little kindness, but I know where they're coming from because that's their personality.
With a plan to kill them if they don't stop?
Pull them on the side and
Because that's my next. I've got that plan in the back of my head.
Adam,
I'm
could you
kidding.
talk to this person outside the meeting and
yeah.
say that's really
Well,
not helpful?
It really isn't, and I've been used to it. I mean, it's happened for many years, but it just is. I've never really said anything.
Yeah.
Can you
And-
give them
and
a
I-
task?
What's that?
Can you give them a task that pulls their focus away from that behavior?
Good
You,
idea.
you could. That, I
That's
mean,
a
that
good
would
idea.
be a
Like
way to do that.
small
Without
child
saying who the
direction.
person is, they're limited.
I've done that, but the task only is done 50%.
Or find a buddy.
Task.
Yeah.
Or find a buddy in the club that knows him or somebody, everybody have weaknesses, so if somebody
Yeah.
knows that one and they, the buddy can get through that person.
I just see it as the person's doing it on purpose. It's clear that they are. And it's just not helpful. Especially when you have a bunch of new members.
Can I bring up something that's not, it hasn't happened yet, but I see the handwriting on the wall kind of thing?
I'm not really going to murder anybody.
Well, Adam,
I
we're
Just
don't
kidding. You don't
know,
have to bring that
Adam.
up. I'm really not.
I don't know, Adam.
13 witnesses here, buddy.
I hate to tell you,
That's why
Adam.
I'm not doing it.
Adam, don't make it weird.
Go ahead.
Adam, was this the person that jumped in on your Zoom meeting the other day?
No.
Okay. Okay.
I have someone that,
Marie, go ahead.
I have someone that is wanting to join our club, okay? She suffers from anxiety, so she has some mental health issues. There has been some, how would you say, untruths told by her to another new member that I just brought into the club. She seems to be glomming on to this new member to be her BFF. And she has outright told her some lies, which I found out later. And I want to protect my new member from this person, but I don't want to be unkind, and I'm not wanting to control who she's friends with. But I see a potential problem with a new member and with her trying to become a member within our club. She's a member of another club right now, and they've had a few issues with her. So I've been talking back and forth to find out what's going on. And I'm a little unclear how to approach her. Should I approach her on one-on-one and say, hey, this behavior is not acceptable? But you know, she has got a mental issue, I'm telling you.
Ms.
Well,
Marie
just
is
keep
by
in mind,
invitation only. By invitation
Yeah.
only.
It's much easier to say no
Yep.
to somebody
By
than to get rid of them when
invitation
they're there.
Mhm.
So
I-
should this be done as the president, which I am, or should it be the board that bring this out? Or because the board, some of those on the board don't want her in either.
Well, Marie, I think you just gave yourself your answer. Because I personally believe that if you don't take care of the problem right off, you're going to have a huge, huge problem. And she's going to end up being I believe, a huge problem in your club. I would deal with it, and I would, frankly, I would not have her in my club.
Yes, by invitation.
By invitation only, and they have to understand that, and you also have to be very frank, I believe, with the reason why, and she's just going to have to deal with it.
Well, she's, in my opinion, she's like a manipulator, and sounds wonderful, sounds great. But then when she told this new member certain issues and certain things, and I knew they were false.
Well,
'Cause I-
congratulations for looking into this prior to just saying yes,
Yes.
because that's what we should be doing.
Yeah.
We need to be vetting people.
Right. I
There's
don't want, you know, you don't want to be mean and you don't want to reject anybody, but I see a big potential problem.
Yep.
If I could say something, I had a member that one of our members that had been there for a long time had brought her into the club and she was going to be a potential new member. Well, it was brought to my attention that she had been arrested and put in jail for several counts of having drugs, money, etc. I just told the member, I said, do not encourage her to become a Lion member. And I told her the reason why. They said, well, I've known her for years and she never did any of that. And I'm going, I would caution you. We don't want to be exclusive, but we also need to protect our interests
Safety.
and club members. And I don't know if it got back to that person or not, but she has not been coming to the meetings anymore. But I also told her, I said, well, let's wait and see. If she's charged, just because she's arrested doesn't mean she's really guilty. I said, we can always relook it. But I didn't want to bring a member in and then say, oh, heck, what did we do? But you have to be firm. You actually, you know, it goes against us wanting new members, but at what cost and what quality?
I had something like that come up long ago in Carlsbad. We had a new member and he seemed like a pretty reasonable fellow, but very quickly he made it clear that he was an income tax protester. He refused to pay his taxes. And, you know, what he does with his taxes is up to him, but we were concerned that his plan to do it publicly and create a court case could be embarrassing to the club. And because of that, I'm trying to remember exactly how we dealt with it. I think we simply asked him that if he was going to do that, not to continue with the club. And I think that's what happened, that he left us.
Yeah. You ready, Barbie?
Yep, I sure am. Good conversation. Next
Yeah.
slide. Okay, so the next is your meditation and facilitation. So basically, how do you kind of work with this? So you have neutral facilitation, which you basically You work with each other on common ground, and you remain neutral, kind of like I was saying. You don't take sides at all. You just kind of work with them. Your mediation, not meditation. I'm okay. Technique is where you help with the conflicting parties. You put somebody in the middle, and you try to come up with. You focus on collaboration, trying to get them to work together, listening to both sides, and seeing if they can, work together. Have them talk about it, kind of like I heard in the conversation where you talk about it and say, I like Adam did with the gentleman that didn't really know that he was doing what the behavior he was doing, and that he said he was sorry and he hasn't done it anymore. That's a form of collaboration, because you actually informed him of the behavior, and he took part, and he had the option of choosing not to do it anymore. That's a form of collaboration, because you're giving him input into his own behavior. And a lot of people don't realize that, but when we give people ownership in that, or if they take ownership in their behavior and they realize, that it's brought to their attention, and they realize, they sometimes will actually stop what it is that's affecting other people. When we don't give them that option, then they do become resentful. But again, it's not always easy to present that information, but sometimes the mediation is very important to have that middle person letting them talk it out. It's kind of like when we are talking to someone and we hear ourselves think. We can hear, the different sides of it because we're listening to ourselves think about it. I know that sounds strange, but we don't hear everything until we can actually listen to it and understand some of what we're thinking, maybe kind of not really what we want to be doing. So it's the same thing with mediation. Relationship preservation. Mediation helps to foster respectful communication, and it allows understanding between the people that are involved. If you have two people, you have someone that's going through a family crisis and nobody knows about it because they're very quiet or very, they don't want to discuss it, but they are willing to discuss it with, the person that's doing the relationship. Sometimes that will help save the friendship and the what it means when you assume. It stops the thing, right? And it allows them to say, hey, I just can't do it right now. I have some issues that I need to deal with. So the person that may be assuming can say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that this was a rough time for you. And the friendship can go on and they can move forward. So those are very important strategies to use also when you're working on conflict management. Next slide, please.
Yep.
And there's some practices for fostering positive relationships. Encouraging trust. We don't want, again, talking behind people's backs. We want people to work together. We want to set up a good foundation for open communication and stronger relationships. We want to be open. We want people to trust each other. You don't want people to find you want them to believe what you're saying. So you really want to be open and forthright with them. You don't want to hide stuff. One of the biggest things I find is when people start talking behind each other's backs, or they break the trust, getting that trust back is almost impossible. So you want to be upfront and right from the beginning. If you have a problem with someone, you go to them. You don't go behind their backs and talk to someone else. Something that people know about me, if I have an issue, I go straight to that person, and I will sit down and I will talk to them and say, hey, I don't understand. Could you please, talk to me? Give me the opportunity, or what I say, give me a chance to make the decision if I'm going to make a change or not. It's still up to me ultimately, but if I don't know I'm doing something wrong, I can't change my behavior. So recognizing contributions, acknowledging somebody in the team for whatever they do. That's something that we often fall short of. A simple thank you will go a long way if we just say thank you to someone that helps us for something that they're doing. If someone comes up and does something to you and is something you may not expect it, or something that you really needed help with, say thank you. tell them that you appreciate them. And, that goes a long way. The contributions, no matter how big or small, are important, and helping them feel good about themselves helps them to be willing to work with you and further. I found out just a simple thank you can go a long way in building a relationship so that you can work together in the future. I did that professionally and in my volunteer world too. And promoting inclusiveness. No matter what the differences are in your club, let everybody work together. Don't put people on the sideline because they're different. Our club, we have all kinds of different walks in that lot, we have people that are from ranching, professionals, all kinds of people, and we all work together. And we don't put anybody aside because we don't think they can do something. We will try to fit them to what they are most comfortable with, and we will ask them, but we include everybody. And that's really important in developing a positive relationship within your club. Next slide, please.
Yep.
Next
We
slide.
may not be able to get to the case studies.
I'm not going to do the case studies.
Okay. Let me go to the next slide.
Yeah, let's go to the next one. We can go to lessons learned. We don't need this one. We can go to the next one.
Okay, got it.
Lessons learned.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. Lessons learned when you have some successful resolution is early intervention. It prevents escalation and more anger. It provides open communication, transparent dialogue, and adaptability in how we do things and the methods that we use. If we do not do these things, it just gets ugly and it becomes more complex and the conflict becomes worse. So, and we learn more about the people we're dealing with. Next slide, please. Adapting strategies to different cultural contexts. Again, this is for everybody. Global diversity importance. Again, when we adapt to the diverse cultural backgrounds, it works within the Lions organizations and for the Lions clubs worldwide. Cultural sensitivity allows all clubs to work together no matter where we're from. That's what makes us such a neat organization, because we are from all over the world and we are one big family. And it becomes very important when we are working like on disaster relief and all the different projects we work with. We're just one big family. And as long as we are sensitive to all of the differences that we have, we work together much better. And adaptability and strategy, it approaches the flexibility in the various cultural norms, and then it allows us to work within all values instead of having all of the main problems that a lot of things that can happen from being not allowing the diversity. So in conclusion, I believe that you've learned the importance of conflict management, that you're going to have conflict, but if you do use conflict management, it's going to help your club become stronger and work together better as a unit. If you use structured frameworks to provide this type of resolution, it's going to help to keep the conflict resolution. It's going to help it work more quickly. It's going to allow your club to see that you are working in a methodized way, and that you care, that that everybody's heard, and you're doing the best to your ability to try to stop the conflict and move forward. Knowing how to communicate better and being aware of the cultural differences and the changes and what's going on is also going to foster better relationships, and it's going to let people feel important for who they are and what they know, as well as allowing them to be who they are without fear of any reprimand or sensitivity for that. And lastly, it will also improve your community impact. And that's the class, guys. I hope that was helpful. Any questions?
PDG Barbie, if at the end of the day, having to go through this guidelines of conflict resolution, and it goes beyond it, in one of the clubs that we have, and then we go to the legal matters and refer it to the district, what do I do as a region chair when it's beyond my area of responsibility supposed to be already? So if it's already in the district, like one of the club, they said it's not within your responsibility, Jenny, it's legal now. So you just have to wait off and let them handle it or take care of it. So how do we do that one right now?
Well, I would refer to Governor Paul, and I believe what you would do is let Paul be aware of that, Lion Paul, and then Paul would direct you. If it becomes complex enough, it may be something that you'll need to go to international legal and discuss with them. Paul, would you answer that, please?
Yeah, because really we do have something that lines up with what you're talking about, Jenny.
Yes.
And the most important thing is that you keep the president of the club apprised of what's going on. And there's a lot that they actually should be doing on their own. So like if it's gotten to the point to where it's become a legal matter, then we get legal within the international involved. The good thing about this is that you have the president of the club that is going to be talking to or communicating with the legal group. And so far in the short time, I think we found that has actually worked out pretty darn well, and they've been able to receive information from legal that has made all the sense in the world, and they are, as far as I know, they're taking it and running with it.
Okay.
So yeah, but I'll tell you this. Let me just say this: is that, and I'm going to talk to you, Jenny, as a region chair, is that if you see an issue that's starting to come up, you should be letting the district governor know of what's going on long before it ever gets to a legal matter.
Well,
Because a lot of times, and I'm going to say this, and you all are going to hear me say this time and time again, that if we get to it early, maybe we can avert it becoming a legal matter.
okay, yes, but this was long before I came in, but that.
Well, no, I get it.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it. So,
real quick, Mary Ellen, what is your last name? Nope, you're muted. Should be down at the bottom someplace where it says little microphone.
can you take her off of mute?
I don't know that I can. I can try.
Be able to, Adam.
You have
Oh,
all
hold
the
on,
powers,
hold on.
Adam.
Adam has the power.
I think I can. I think I can.
Yeah, you sound like the little train.
I
Thomas.
know. Let's see. No, I can't. I can just ask her to unmute.
There we go.
Yay.
Okay.
Oh, there we go, Mary Ellen.
Yay!
Yay. What's your last name?
Azevedo. Azevedo.
Yeah, she's
And what-
she's a
Dayton.
relative
Go
of
ahead.
mine.
Hi, Paul.
Hi.
And what club are you with?
Dayton.
Dayton. Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. Well,
She's
folks,
a very
we
good
have gone-
cook.
Oh, nice.
She
Well, we'll
makes
be
an
over
awesome
soon, all of us.
cake.
It's going to be a long drive for Tasha and Jenny and Marie, and Jim, but the rest, and Lisa, but the rest of us are going to come over, and Kathy.
Okay.
So anyway,
There's always the food
folks,
fair.
yeah, that's right. We have gone over a little bit from our time, but this was such an important topic, and
Yeah.
one that every one of our clubs has had to deal with, that I thought, you know what, I'm going to let this one go over a little bit more, Barbie, you did a fantastic job. Very well prepared.
Yes.
Great information. If you have any questions about the mediation process or stuff like that, go on the portal and you can look all of that up, or you can go on Lions International, look all of that up. Does anybody have anything else
Just
before I wrap up here?
just anyway, Adam and Barbie, thank you for your efforts in putting this together. And I'll tell you this is that, and Barbie, you're probably going to kill me when you see me tomorrow.
Uh-oh.
But you know, if you've got any issues or if there's something that you need to know, in this case, Barbie's an excellent person to go to. She
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
help you out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so I want to remind everybody that we have our next class will be September 28th, the last Sunday of the month at 3 p.m. And it is going to be on promoting your club. And we are going to be having our speaker will be a lady from an organization called Just Serve.
Oh, super.
And some of
Sounds
your
good. Yeah.
some of your clubs already use it. But this is going to be very specific to Just Serve. But I think it can help you get your projects out there, get more
Oh, good.
get more volunteers for those. And I think that was about it. All right. So, also, because we've been recording this, remember we have a YouTube channel now. I have posted the QR code on the Facebook group, but I can send it to you if you'd like. But all of these are uploaded to that, so you can watch the entire thing, as well as our entire cabinet meeting is already up there.
Wow.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
All right. Good
Well,
deal.
folks, if there's nothing else, Barbie, again, thank you so much. You did a great job. And we will see you guys next month on the last Sunday of the month.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
See you on the
Take care,
28th.
everybody. Yeah, it's on the 28th.
All right.
Yep.
Thank
All
you.
right. Take care.
Good
Bye-bye.
job.
Thank you,
Thanks.
guys. Bye.
Bye, y'all. Thanks, Barbie.
Bye, all. Take care.
Bye.